on a sec. Good morning. It's a shiny Monday morning today. It is really cold. It's minus 18 degrees outside, so not the warmest day, but it is so sunny. So I'm working in the kitchen, which is the room in our flat that has the most light. So it just feels great to work on the kitchen table and just enjoy the sun shining on my face. Today I have some sample knitting to do, some email work as well. I need to write a new pattern, and I also have to block that sample. And also tonight I have a new shawl pattern that comes out, so I need to do a couple of things about that as well. So yeah, let's get started. I have received this beautiful book this morning. You have seen me unboxing it, and I haven't had the time to have a proper look yet, but it definitely seems like a very good resource book for knitting, just for things that you might have forgotten how to do, which happens a lot of the time. I don't know if like me, you might forget how to start the Kitchener stitch from time to time, or all the time. I always have to see or to check on YouTube how to do the first setup rows, because I never seem to remember how to do them for some reason. Then I count in my head knit purl or purl knit. I know the repeat in my head, but it's just like starting up is always difficult. So I find it like really nice to have a book with nice illustrations, just to maybe learn new techniques, because something that I love about knitting is that there's always something new to learn, like a stitch pattern or like something more technical. There's always something new to learn. Here, for example, you can learn about brioche knitting, how to increase in brioche, which is something that I don't know how to do personally yet. So I have been wanting to learn more about brioche knitting, so I'm definitely going to have a look here and practice on some swatches. This is very useful if you're a designer, especially if you are making charts, because I know like the main charting symbols, but for things that are slightly more complicated, I always have to spend some time online and search for the proper key of a specific stitch pattern, and that can be like time consuming. So I just think like having a source book like this and probably putting some like post-its on the sides is gonna be really useful almost every day, I think. And if you're new to designing and that's something that you might want to try, I think that this book could be a good thing to look at as well. If it's available in a library or any bookstore, just have a quick browse and see if that's something that you might be interested in. I know, for example, that when I started and didn't know anything about shawl constructions or the different shapes that were possible to make, and it's just wonderful to have a book that explains everything, like the basics of a specific construction, but that also dive into sweater design as well. So there's just a little bit of everything for everyone, I think. Maybe not for really advanced knitters, because they might have mastered or acquired a lot of these techniques already, but I would say for beginner knitters that can be really great. I don't think that the book is like too intimidating, that sometimes there's like those books that have a lot of text, and it's kind of difficult to really see what's going on. I'm personally a visual learner, so I need pictures, I need like charts and illustrations to see exactly what's going on, and I think that this book so far is great for that. Let's do a question and answer segment, because I've received quite a few questions that I would like to address. So I'm gonna be knitting, trying to knit as I answer questions. I will see how that will go, and I apologize in advance if there's any background noise because my landlord is doing some renovations on the flat next to mine. So the first question is from the Natural Knitter, and she asked about my system to organize my knitting needles. So at the moment I only have one set of interchangeable needles, though I have like a few extra pairs of non-interchangeable, like fixed circular needles. And I do have a couple of brands. I have some Addy, I have some Haya Sharp as well, and I have a few pairs of Chiago needles. And to be honest, I have like one favorite brand of knitting needles, and I prefer interchangeable needles in general, so I don't have a lot of fixed needles, and that means that I have one. I store all of my needles in one specific place, and that is the case that came with the set of interchangeable needles that I got, and I got the small set, and basically you have space here to add extra pairs of the same size, or like extra sizes, for example the 2.25 needles, and on the other side you have, I think, yeah, space to add the larger needles. So Chiagos are my all-time favorite needles, not only because I found the tip to be sharp, but not like too sharp. I stabbed myself quite a few times with Haya sharps, and that's because I push my stitches with my index finger, so if the needle is too sharp, that can happen. Knitting injuries. But the thing that I love the most about Chiago needles is their cable. It doesn't have any memory whatsoever, so it is quite sturdy and it holds the stitches really well, which kind of helps, I think, with the way it's kind of taking pressure off your back or your wrist. I don't really know how it works, but it's very smooth, and you don't have this, you know, wrinkly cable that I find so obnoxious. So yeah, favorite needles. Second question, Picture Book Mine asked about my samples and what I do with them, if I keep them or if I sell them. And at this point I don't have like a lot of samples. I might have something like 30 designs maximum, so it's not like a huge lot compared to like very established or very well-known designers. So yeah, I don't have like a massive amount of samples, so at the moment I just keep them, and maybe if one day I will reach a point when I will have like not enough storage space for all of them, I will probably try to sell some of them or give them to charity, I think. I'm not sure about sweaters because I'm kind of a minimalist in many ways, and I have a very minimal wardrobe, and I lack sweaters desperately, especially in this part of the world, in Latvia. Right now it's minus, I don't know, between -10 and -20, and I just have a handful of jumpers to wear in the winter. So yeah, I don't want to say the more the merrier, because that kind of goes against the minimalist thoughts or minimalist philosophy, but you need sweaters, right, to stay warm, and I don't know, I'm kind of a hoarder. Mom of two kidlets on Ravelry asks about my tea collection and how I make tea. So I think that I will talk about that probably like in the following video, because I ran out of tea actually. And I placed an order maybe 2 weeks ago, and I think that it might arrive this week. So at the moment I don't have anything to show you, but yeah, I'm thinking of doing that next week. Handmade Riots on Ravelry ask about my plans for the future, and where I would like to live, and what would I be doing. So that's a very interesting question. I definitely see myself in the countryside. For the longest time I have been wanting to settle in the UK for many different reasons. But just thinking about the real estate price, that is a bit crazy. I'm not really sure anymore. And yeah, like one of the most important thing for me is growing my own food, and that's the reason why I kind of think that France, my home country, is probably the best choice for me. So yeah, definitely the countryside in a obviously rural area. As for what I would be doing, I wish that I'm gonna be able to keep working on my passion with yarn, and keep creating knitting patterns, and I don't know, definitely doing something creative. It is so fulfilling, and I just feel so grateful to do that every day as my job. So I don't want to change that at all. It is just the perfect thing for me, I think. And she also asked about what I think about the fringe filled bag, and actually I have it right here because I store my whip in it, and I love it. I wish I would have a little collection of natural filled bags. There's a lady that I follow on Instagram that has a few of them, and she recently displayed them on a shelf, and I mean, not necessarily displayed, but that's where she keeps them, and I was slightly envious, if you will. I just love it. It is like a sturdy bag, which I love because it sits on itself, and it has like cord, or like it's a drawstring bag, so you don't, with zips sometimes it can catch you knitting, so it's like not the best. Size wise, it is quite deep. You can definitely keep a sweater pattern in here. It's available in many different colors, but as you probably can tell, I'm more of a neutral person, so there was no, for me it was obvious that I would end up getting the natural one. It's a bit pricey, especially if you are not in the US. It's an expensive bag to get, but I think that the quality is really good, and if it's something that you can keep for many years, it's like any other things, it's like an investment for quality, I would say. When I think about my knitting needles, as an example, before getting the Chiago needles, I got 2 sets of Knit Pro needles, and I don't want to say anything wrong about companies, but I don't know, they were just not working for me, so I just prefer to invest in something that might be slightly more expensive, but that are just more durable, because yeah, basically in the long term it's gonna be like more economical, because you don't have to replace needles if they break, and just the fact that I enjoy them. I enjoy working with them even more. That's pretty much it for today. If you have any question that you would like me to answer, please ask them in the comments below. I will be chatting with you very soon again.